What if you walked beside hope itself and didn't recognize it? What if the answers you were praying for were already walking with you? What if your deepest disappointment became the doorway to a greater revelation? The story on the road to Emmaus begins in silence and sorrow. It unfolds not in a temple, not before crowds, but on a dusty road walked by two broken disciples. It is the very day Jesus rose from the dead, yet these two men are walking away from Jerusalem, away from the place of promise, carrying heavy hearts and unanswered questions. Their dreams had collapsed. Their expectations had been buried. And though the resurrection had already happened, they were still living as if hope were gone. Luke tells us they were discussing all that had taken place, not celebrating, not rejoicing, discussing, replaying the pain, the arrest, the crucifixion, the confusion. When hope dies, the mind circles the past endlessly. And in that vulnerable space, Jesus himself draws near and begins walking with them. Yet they do not recognize him. This detail matters deeply. The risen Christ is present but unseen. He is close but unrecognized. Not because he is absent, but because sorrow has clouded their vision. Their eyes are kept from knowing him. This speaks to a profound truth for every believer. Jesus can be walking with us in our pain, and we may not realize it. Not because he has changed, but because grief can narrow our sight. Jesus asks a simple question: what are you talking about as you walk? The question stops them in their tracks. One of them, Cleopas, responds with a mixture of disbelief and sadness. Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there? The irony is overwhelming. They are asking the risen Lord if he knows what happened to himself. They begin to tell Jesus about Jesus. They speak of him as a prophet, powerful in word and deed. They speak of hope that once lived in their hearts. We had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. That single sentence reveals everything. We had hoped, hope past tense, faith reduced to memory. They also mention the empty tomb, the women's testimony, the angel's message. But notice this: information alone did not restore their faith. They knew the facts, yet their hearts remained heavy. Knowledge without understanding does not heal disappointment. Jesus responds, not with rebuke, but with truth. He calls them slow of heart to believe all that the prophets had spoken. Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explains the scriptures concerning himself. The road becomes a classroom, the stranger becomes a teacher, and broken faith begins its slow return. This moment reveals something vital about how Jesus restores us. He does not rush the process. He walks, he listens, he explains. He does not overwhelm. He unfolds truth patiently, step by step, meeting wounded hearts where they are. As they walk, something begins to change inside them. They do not yet recognize him, but their hearts respond. Truth has a way of warming what sorrow has frozen. Scripture, when opened by Christ, does not merely inform the mind, it ignites the soul. As evening approaches, they reach Emmaus. Jesus appears as though he will continue on. He never forces his presence. He waits to be invited. And they urge him strongly, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening." This invitation is more than hospitality. It is the hunger of hearts awakened but not yet fulfilled. At the table, everything changes. Jesus takes bread, blesses it, breaks it, and gives it to them. And in that familiar act, their eyes are opened. They recognize him. And in that same moment, he vanishes from their sight. This is one of the most profound moments in all of Scripture. Recognition comes not on the road, but at the table. Not through argument, but through communion. Not through sight, but through shared presence. And once they recognize him, they no longer need him to remain physically visible. Faith has been restored. They say to one another, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us?" The fire was there before recognition. The warmth preceded the vision. God often works in our hearts before we understand what he is doing. Immediately they rise and return to Jerusalem. The same road they walked in despair, they now run in joy. When hope is restored, direction changes. When faith returns, retreat becomes mission. They find the 11 and share their testimony. And here is the beauty of resurrection faith. It multiplies. Encounter leads to witness. Private revelation becomes shared joy. The road to Emmaus is not just a historical account. It is a mirror of our own journeys. We too walk roads of confusion. We too replay pain. We too carry disappointed expectations. and often Jesus walks beside us while we speak of loss, unaware that hope is closer than we think. This story teaches us that faith does not always begin with certainty. Sometimes it begins with honesty. Jesus did not appear to disciples full of confidence, but to those full of doubt. He did not wait for perfect belief. He met them in their brokenness. It teaches us that Scripture is not a book of distant stories, but a living word that points to Christ in every page. When Jesus opens Scripture, hearts burn. When Scripture is read without Christ at the center, hearts remain cold. It teaches us that recognition often comes in the breaking of bread, in shared moments, in ordinary acts filled with divine presence. God reveals himself not only in miracles, but in meals, conversations, and quiet invitations. And it teaches us that even when Jesus seems to vanish, he has not left. His disappearance from sight is not absence, but a transition from physical presence to abiding faith. If you are walking a road today filled with unanswered questions, know this: Jesus is nearer than you think. If your prayers feel heavy and your hope feels distant, remember the Emmaus road. The risen Christ still walks with discouraged hearts. He still listens. He still opens Scripture. He still reveals himself in his time. The journey of faith is not always about seeing clearly. Sometimes it is about trusting deeply before sight returns. Sometimes the heart burns before the eyes open. And when recognition finally comes, may it send us back into the world with renewed joy, bold witness, and unshakable hope. Thank you for watching this video on Holy Path Insights. If this message encouraged your faith, please like the video, follow the channel, and share it with someone who may be walking their own Emmaus road. Your support helps spread the truth and hope of the gospel to hearts around the world.